Are you racist? I bet you are. Secret, just a little bit, but you don't like to admit it. I wanted to talk about racism because a good friend of mine recently made an incredible video over on TikTok. It's a rival platform, not YouTube, but he's going viral because he's, without giving too much away, a British Asian guy, Sri Lankan background, if it matters. And he grew up in the 70s and 80s. And he's saying that he's never really encountered face to face racism in the UK, but he has seen a lot online. A lot of people behind that cloak of anonymity like to get really racist and offensive, but a lot of us go through our daily lives without ever seeing any racism or experiencing any face to face racism. But are people holding hatred in their heart for you without revealing it? Now, look, I can't speak for people that have grown up as a visible ethnic minority. I grew up white in a majority white environment. So I've got no idea what it really feels like to be a victim of racism. So I would like to hear from anyone that has. Have you grown up in the UK in the last few decades? Were you inundated with racism? Was racism worse 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or is it worse now? Is it a different type of racism that we are experiencing now? Have you been a victim of a microaggression? What even is that? I don't know. I think it's when people are unwittingly racist, even though they probably didn't mean to be. And I wanted to look at the history of racism. Do you know when was the first historical incident of racism? Are we talking about the transatlantic slave trade? Are we talking about a little bit before that? A friend of mine once told me that the first instance of racism was when Cain took the life of his brother Abel in the Bible. Were they of a different race? How did we even get different races? If you're one of those literalist, Bible believing Christians, do you go by the old theory that the sons of Noah gave rise to the different races in different parts of the world? He had Shem, Ham, Japheth. Now, it doesn't say any of this in the Bible. This is all conclusions that were jumped to by people that were reading between the lines, who wanted the idea of race to be in the Bible. And I think Japheth is considered the ancestor of the European people, you could say, the white people. Ham as this son that is the ancestor of all the African people. And Shem, this is where you get the Semites, Semitic people, the Semitic languages. They are descended from this son of Noah. But is that really how you get a different race? And these were names that were then attributed to different languages, and you had Hamitic languages, Semitic languages. And I've mentioned before how the Catholic Church drilled this into the people in Rwanda and convinced them that they were part of two different tribes and one was superior to another. And then, well, we know what happened. You had one trying to wipe out the other race. Have you seen that picture of the ancient Britons, the computer image of what the ancestors of the British people look like? It's a black guy with really blue eyes, a bit like mine. A lot of people get very upset when they see that picture. They think that their history is being erased. But the point being made is that white people the concept wasn't around back then, but also I think that the actual gene, the genetic code that gives you a white skin or hardly any melanin in your skin, that did not evolve until a few thousand years ago, maybe 100,000 years ago, but certainly the original people, mitochondrial Eve, this woman in Africa, whom we're all descended from, they would all have they would have been black people. We're descended from black people, every one of us, even though the concept of black, white, and everything in between didn't come around until years later. But I want to know, how strongly do you identify with your race? Is it something that you consider? And do you live in an environment where, even if you live in a multicultural society, most of the people around you are of the same racial background as yourself? I was listening to someone on the far right the other day, and he made the point that the Pakistani community in the UK are a minority, but many of them will not be aware of what it feels like to be a minority because they live in communities amongst themselves. They live in a very Pakistani area. They will have shops and mosques and schools and everything in the locality made up by people like themselves. So I wonder how many people live, and it's probably, I mean, it would be the same for the vast majority of white people in the UK, which is still, I think, is it 80%? What percent of the UK are white? But is being white, is it one race? Is there more than one race within a skin color? If you are stopped by the police, if you happen to have the misfortune to be stopped by the police, they will ask you to describe your own ethnicity, and the options for white are twofold: IC1 and IC2. IC1, Northern European; IC2, Southern European; IC3 is black people. IC3 is one category, and he's also the name of a guy in Speaker's Corner who likes to talk about race, likes to talk about the identity code, does IC3. I've got quite a few interviews with him on this channel. And a question I need to ask is, why are white people, according to the identity codes used by the police in the UK, and as he says, that makes it legal, why are white people split into two categories, IC1, IC2, and black people, whether they're from Africa or America, Caribbean, they're IC3. IC3 is any black person anywhere in the world. Why do white people have two categories? Black people have one. Is that a case of white privilege, white bias in favor of the Europeans? IC4 is South Asian. So Asians are split up into South Asian, and I think Far East Asians are IC6. But I guess we would agree that people from South Asia and people from East Asia tend to look different, tend to be described as a different race. In fact, if you're in the US, Asian refers to East Asian. If you're in the UK and you say Asian, most likely you're referring to people from the Indian subcontinent. Carlos Gonzalez saying, "You're so full of dinosaur droppings, boys. Pathetic." Okay, not sure what he or she meant by that. Thank you, Carlos Gonzalez, for getting involved. Bobby Ver, great to have Bobby in the room as ever. When you think of racism, what do you think of first? What race? Well, come on, Bobby. We all know that. We all know. We've got someone who'd like to join. Good evening,
Hello there. Hello.
Dr. Bambley.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Welcome aboard. The chat is about race tonight because a very good friend of mine is going viral on TikTok because he's been talking about his experiences with racism. But one of these days we'll get him on. What's your take on racism?
Well, I first of all think that, as part of the race is the racism. I think that everybody is exposed to it in their everyday lives. Everyone.
All right, and have you ever exposed yourself to racism?
No. So I am very fortunate, very lucky that when I am growing up, I have no racism at me, not directly, and I have very good experience of living in this country and not experiencing any form of racism direct to me. But
Which and you
I,
grew, where did you grow up, Doctor?
yes, I grew up in Forest Hill, which is in Coventry.
Okay, well, you've certainly picked up the accent, but that's
Thank
good that you didn't get any racism. Someone in the chat is saying pickle. I don't know why they're saying that.
Hello.
When you think of racism, what race do you think of first? That was a question in the chat.
Yes, I believe in the first thing that came in my mind is human.
Wow, good shout. Yeah, good shout. The human
Yes,
race. We're all.
human race.
I was going on earlier on about all the different characters in the Bible that people named races after, but it's still just made up. It's a concept. Yes, there are people that look different in different countries because of the weather, but what you consider one race and what you consider another race will change throughout history. Irish people were not considered white when they arrived in America. Today, they're very much considered part of the white race, but many of them, because they remember that history, or those that do remember, tend to stand with the victims of racism, the victims of oppression around the world.
Yes, and interesting because I said to you, I don't feel, I never feel direct racism for 50 years since I have lived in this country, but I know that I have experienced indirect racism. Okay, so what I mean by this is, for example, I apply for a job and they see my name and I don't have job because they see my name. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is why now I changed my name by deed poll and I call myself Dr. Bambling Gascoigne. Yeah.
Well, there's anything with doctor in it, and Gascoigne is a great name. But Gascoigne, I think, is an Irish name. He was of an Irish background. Paul
that is
Gascoigne.
correct. That is correct. Yes,
and
I have. Yes.
Sorry, Doc. Yeah, and I'm just going to say on the name issue, a lot of Irish people that came to England with an O in front of their name, O'Sullivan, O'Brien, would end up dropping the O for the very same reason that you mentioned, because an ostensibly Irish name might not get you past the job application.
Exactly.
So I've heard.
Exactly.
And also in Ireland, equally, there's a lot of family names that might have been Mac Morrow, 200 years ago, became simply Morrow because having an anglicised name or a less Irish sounding name was also beneficial over there.
Of course. And I sometimes think, I don't know if this is racist or not, but sometimes when I go to the McDonald's and I offer, McDonald's and I drink. I order the coffee or takeaway McDonald's cafe. Drive it through, and sometimes the person who is serving me, they when they are speaking in their language accent, I hear all the time at the end of their words, they say ing. So like, how are you doing? Having cup of tea, ing. And
Ordering, you
yes, and ordering,
bought,
yes.
yeah,
And
I,
but unfortunately, my problem is I start to talk like them. I have big problem every time
well,
somebody
it's
talks to
funny
me.
that.
I talk like
Yeah,
that.
that's interesting. I think, especially if you grow up with parents who have a different accent from the locale, you can you're used. I mean, I had an Irish accent when I could first speak because I was learning to speak from my parents. I went to school and I dropped it. But I think it gives you the knack for picking up on accents and maybe subconsciously picking up an accent. I think even when I would go back to Ireland on holiday as a young kid, it would sort of drift and you end up with this accent that's not really one or another. So it's interesting that you say that.
And as someone from here, and as someone from Ireland, I can tell you now that when
There
I
you go.
used to,
We're
when I came
drifting
from
now.
Galway, when I
Very
originally
good.
came from Galway, right? I was originally
Superb.
born in Galway, and I tell you what, yeah, when I came over to this country, young man, people would always take the mickey out of my Irish accent. But as you know, that I changed my name, so Dr. Bambling Gascoigne is how I am representing myself now.
Fantastic. He's everything and nothing all in one. In the comments, that Jewish atheist is saying, "Yep, you are correct. We are all one." Question: can an American be racist against a South American if that South American is 100% Spanish/Portuguese? Well, race it's different everywhere, isn't it? Like there are people in South America who are 100% Spanish ancestry, making them, I suppose, white European. But in America, they would still be considered Latino and therefore not white. Like the concept used to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, WASP. They were the top tier of society, and everyone else was just, second, third, fourth class citizen. But we've got more comments here. Because many South Americans are mixed race, yeah, majority Spanish, although I suspect many Southern Europeans would be seen as another race. Well, yeah, according to the police, IC2 is a different race from IC1. Southern Europeans are differentiated from. And if you come from the middle of Italy, Turin or somewhere like that, you're not going to know, are you a Southern European? Are you Mediterranean or are you Alpine?
Very interesting point. Very interesting point you just made there. You brought up this whole thing, which is very confusing for me at the moment. What is this? What is this IC you just said? You say, as you say IC1, I see two, and now I hear people are talking about this, some form of ice people in the police in the America, and they're going around and I don't know, do they live in igloos? What is this? Ice people? They're frozen? They're frozen people?
It is very confusing. ICE in America are the law enforcement agents that make sure people are not outstaying their visa and they deport illegal immigrants. That's what I understand ICE to be. But the IC codes in the UK
you mean
are
ICE
descriptions
of
how people look.
But these ICE people, they are police people. They are what is the word? Prejudicing the IC people from the North Pole. The North Pole for the North Americans and the South Pole for the South Americans.
Well, look, Trump does want to conquer Greenland. Do you know why Greenland was called Greenland?
No, you tell me. Because people are there is. Go on.
Apparently, when the Vikings went there and they saw that it was completely white and covered in ice, they wanted to trick people into coming there by calling it Greenland. Because they needed, civilization. Yes. But the majority of people that live in Greenland, and there's not that many of them, they would be of Inuit background. So
Yes,
not
these are the these are
white
the
people, native,
yes, but
more
yes,
like
these
the
are the
Native
people.
Americans.
These are the people who live in the icy houses. They're called ig.
Igloo, yeah.
No. I think it is called ig. Yes.
Is it?
Um,
I don't know. I mean,
yes, ig. Ig is the house without loo.
yes, if they don't have a built-in ensuite, it's very difficult in these conditions. I must
Yes.
say.
Yes.
I mean, you know why they call them Nordic countries, don't you?
Because they are not from Saudi countries.
Well, because they're so cold. Sometimes some people, frostbite. People ended up with yeah, because we've got more comments. Mohammed Omar has written something in the Arabic script that I can't read, unfortunately. Jim Smith wants to know, what is this about? What if a man looks Middle Eastern, but it's 10% Indian and 90% European? Well, what are the Middle Easterners other than a people in the middle? In fact, a lot of people are objecting to that term now, and they are saying West Asia rather than Middle Eastern. I don't know if you come across that, Doctor. It's the latest politically correct.
Yes, I'm hearing this. Yes, I'm hearing this many occasions now. But to be honest with you, I get very confused, very confused. For me, it is simply just you are brown, you are black, you are whatever, and
but
this
no
whole
one's actually black
this
or
north
white.
and south and middle.
People are brown. I'll give you that.
No,
but no one's actually
we're all
white.
red.
No one's actually black. Are
Yes.
we red? We're the color of clay.
Yes, we're red. We're red.
Yeah. Good shout. Even
Yes.
the name Adam.
Exactly.
And Dum comes from the meaning of red earth, and it's related to the word for blood as well. So we came from the soil, earth.
That is correct.
Bobby Ver is saying that the Irish accent Doctor did was good. All right, you're getting compliments on that accent. Well done, Doctor.
Thank you very much, there. Yeah, thank you very much. I've been living in Ireland for a very long time now, and thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Anyway, but I'm going back to this whole story when I first came here. Yeah. What I was telling you, I do not experience any form of racism in this country, except indirect racism. And you know why I believe this is happening? Because I think there is a fear. Yeah, I think these people who are racists, they are fearing us, and they don't want to. I am tell you something. I have asked many people on social media. I call them out. I say, you are racist, you are racist. I see many comments, now on this social media, and I will say, you are racist, you are racist. And I say, why are you hiding behind the social media? And I say to them, why don't you come here and tell us all you are racist? Tell me you are racist. Come to my face and tell me you are racist. Okay, but no, nobody. Not one person has come to me on social media, send me message, anything to say they are racist. Yeah. So this is my problem. My problem is they can make racist comments, but they cannot admit they're racist. And that is why I have issue with racism, even though I don't have any racism at me directly.
Wow, Doctor. Would you rather someone was just honest with you and said it to your face than being nice to you and then hypocritically?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I think that's what some people.
I would rather they come. I would rather they come up to me. I would rather they come up to me and tell me that I'm an Irish. I'm an Irish this and I'm an Irish that. But the point is, I am not Irish. I am Irish, and I am human. I'm of human race, right?
Well, we're all one blood. Naranas is saying, listen to the racist. And Bobby Ver is saying, when Doctor says racist, who is he referring to? Do you want to answer that question, Doctor? Where is the racism coming from in terms of which community?
Yes, very good question about this. Who are the racists I am referring to? I believe that the racism is coming from it is a personal experience. Okay, so I believe racism is experienced by people in a very personal form. So, for example, in this country, I believe that the many racist people, mainly who are subjecting this what is these people? I call these people the boat people, the asylum seekers. Yes,
Right.
refugees. We have had many incidents, of course, in the last 2 years, where this whole refugees and coming on the boat. This is the issue. And now on the social media, if you go on there, whenever you see any form of some form of like a sexual violence or anything, the comment is always about the boat people. They must have done it. It must be the brown people, or it must be an engineer or a doctor. So actually,
Sarcastic
these
comment,
people
yeah.
who are, for me, when I see these comments, yes, these people who are making the comments, obviously, they are people who are white from this country, but maybe also who knows, they could be even maybe white person from Poland who is living in this country. Okay, but the point is they are mainly white people in this country. Now, this can be happening maybe in another country. Okay, now I am not saying, for example, I am not saying that black people or brown people are also believing in this whole propaganda about asylum seekers coming on board, and they are the people who are always causing these problems, because I know there are some black people and brown people who are also saying the same things as these white people. So actually, it's very difficult for. It is Bobby who asked this question, right?
Yes, Bobby
I
Ver,
said
and
to
he's
Bobby,
followed it up,
I
in fact.
think that
Go on,
actually,
Doctor.
okay, and yes, and I can say to Bobby, I believe that the racism is happening from everyone to everyone in a very hidden format. And you don't know if they are black, white, brown, but it is happening. And for me, it is very indirect. But for many other people, it is direct.
Like an indirect free kick. Remember when England lost the Euros in the final in a penalty shootout? Remember that?
Yes. To
There
Saudi
was a
Arabia.
bit.
Yes.
No, I think it was Italy in the Euros. I don't think Saudi got to the Euros final. Saka missed a penalty, and in fact,
That is correct. Yes.
there was another black England player that missed a penalty, whose name I can't remember. But there was a bit of a fallout on Twitter. Some people alleged that Gareth Southgate wanted to have a diverse lineup rather than the best team. And there were a lot of racist comments against the players in the England team. But when people researched where those racist tweets were coming from, using the IP address, which I think is something you can do if you're a tech whiz, they found out a lot of the comments were actually coming from India. That might have been white people that live in India.
That's correct.
I think it was surprising
Yes, but
to hear that when we
yes,
were being led to believe that so many people in England
yes,
are now
yes.
booing their own
It was
national team, the Three Lions. Is it Three Lions?
well. This is not
Because a couple
surprising,
of black
right?
players
This
missed
is
a
not
penalty,
surprising.
but maybe it wasn't actually all
Yes.
that it seemed.
Well, I can tell
Bobby
you
was
it.
asking you,
I
is it
remember this.
racist
This
referring
is
to white people as definitely racist and saying obviously? Doctor, are you still there?
not all the white people are racist. Of course not. Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
At the moment. 1 second.
Hello.
Hello, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Hello.
All right.
Yes, I can hear you
I
very
can't
well.
hear the Doctor, but someone in the chat will have to tell me, are you hearing me loud and clear? Just give me a yes in the chat if you are.
Yes,
Warrior
yes, I can hear
Poetti
you.
is
I can hear you.
saying that guy who speaks doesn't know anything about real world. Okay, maybe not. Warrior is saying yes, but you stupid. Thanks, Warrior Poetti. Are you a poet? Give us some of your poetry. we'd love to hear it. You can jump on if you want. Indian people do get a lot of racism in the UK. They have had that since the 60s. Yes, of course, Indian people suffer racism in the UK, and so do black people. But also an issue is sometimes a perceived second-class citizen will take revenge not on the white person that was racist to them, but against the perceived third-class citizen. There's no one more racist, I argue, than a second-class citizen. And we've got the doctor back on. I think I don't know what happened there, doctor. Maybe the
Yes,
phone line
yes, yes.
was
Yes,
racist.
very, yes, very
Um,
bad, very bad, very bad.
but,
And actually, yeah, I want to go back, my friend. You mentioned about Saka, and yes, I remember now the Saka, Jadon Sancho, and Marcus Rashford. Okay, these are the three players. Now, here is the situation. When this situation happened, the real story is that actually the manager asked. And then basically, these three young boys at the time, they are the ones who said yes, yes, and yes. And they, that is why they should be commended. But it wasn't because Gareth Southgate said, I will do it for diversity for reasons of this. He asked them, who is confident? Who
who's
is
going to
confident?
step up? And they had the guts
They
to step
stepped up. Exactly.
Credit to them for their country.
Exactly. And this is what these racist people don't understand. They don't understand that these three people, they represented their country, they are trying best for their country, but all they see is the color of their skin, and that is the problem. And that is what I call the direct racist. But these people, when they come on the comments on the social media, okay, and they make these racist comments, if you ask them, show yourself. Who are you? Come and meet me.
Warrior Poet is on here saying that he or she can hear me, but I'm stupid. Come on here. Click the link. We'll hear you. You don't have to turn your camera on. We'll see who's stupid in a minute. You can come and speak to the doctor and he can diagnose your issues. The other question. I am
not afraid of people. I will come on camera anytime. Yes, yes. Just and where is this person? He's racist.
Anytime, any place, sucker. The other question was ask doctor about caste system. So I think this refers to, I presume, the Indian caste system.
Yes.
I don't know if any other countries have a caste system. Maybe you could say they do. In apartheid South Africa, there was certainly a hierarchy of races, and some superior than others and inferior to others. I don't know how much you know about the caste system, doctor.
Yes,
from what I know, it's got an element of racism to it, has it?
Yes, it is very bad to call someone half caste. You don't call this anymore. Okay,
no,
half caste is very bad, very bad, very bad, my friend.
That's PC language, but I think this person's asking about in the Indian subcontinent.
Yes.
In the Hindu religion.
Yes.
They have a caste system whereby the Brahmins are at the very top. I believe it's the Dalits who are at the very bottom. And there is a kind of perception of colorism whereby if you're from northern India and from a higher caste, you might have a lighter skin because you're descended from the Aryan civilization that swept in and pushed out the Dravidian native indigenous inhabitants. So is the Hindu caste system an example of racism? And I think this person probably thinks it's one of those that doesn't get talked about enough.
This is a very good question. I think it is. Yes, I think it is because, understandably, in not just India, in Sri Lanka, yes, as well. And I can say that at the end of the day, we are all made of red blood, And actually, the skin, the cells in the skin is affected by where you are in relation to the sun. And of course, everyone knows that the North Indians are much more paler in their skin color as opposed to the South Indian and Sri Lankan people. And actually,
go on.
yes,
Sorry, doctor. Sorry,
no.
doctor. Not to interrupt.
So actually, this is biological. And so if you are now doubting people or why somebody should not be with somebody else because of their color of their skin, then yes, it is a casting kind of racism, and I will call this not racism. I will call this rascast. Yeah, because you're racism
Okay.
against the casting. Yes,
I like it.
but yes, but actually it will be deemed by these people from India, Sri Lanka, that it is a cultural thing. It is a cultural identity. But actually, let's think about this. What are you actually casting the racism about, or racism about? It is actually the color of the skin. Yeah, that is the main reason. Or I understand, and I may be corrected if I am wrong, but there is issue that I believe that some caste are deemed as lower caste as opposed to another caste because of their background, where they're from. That's deemed to be more poorer as opposed to more wealthier. And so they don't want the people to mingle on that basis. Now, that is not racism. That is more whatever it is. But I do think there is an element of racism within the casting system. But it is happening also in Sri Lanka. Yes.
And there is colorism. And I mean, look, Sri Lanka has two main ethnic groups, if I'm correct.
That is correct. Yes.
Sinhalese and Tamil. What are they? Are they the same race? That to an outsider, they probably look the same. Someone from that country might say, "Oh, I can spot one or another." Is this not another example of the Western powers, the British Empire, treating one better than another, and that being the reason for animosity between the two?
Absolutely. I have been to Sri Lanka many times, my friend. And I tell you, I cannot tell the difference between Tamil people person there or from the Sinhalese person there. And even I tell you, there is Christian people there, and they look the same to me. Okay, all of them look
Yes,
very much. Yes,
and Muslim people as well.
Muslim.
It's a very
Yes, yes,
beautifully diverse
yes,
island, and
yes,
such a shame
yes.
that it was war torn.
Of course, and of course, there was a big trouble a few years ago. I think not big trouble, but if you remember, I think it was in Easter, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even a few years back than that, when there is the Christian church, which was bombed. And I think they believe it was maybe I can't remember, but it was a Christian church that is bombed in the Sri Lanka. But let's move on that. You are talking about the Tamils and Sinhalese and this. That is, to be fair, that is, I can go into this many times more because there is a very big element of racism in Sri Lanka. For example, if I don't know if you know this, the cricket team, okay? The Sri Lankan cricket team. If you ask many Tamil people in Sri Lanka, Australia, India, or living in England, do you support England or Sri Lanka or whoever? They will tell you, the Tamil people will tell you they do not support Sri Lanka. Yeah, that the same with the football team. They don't support the Sri Lankan football team. They support England or where they are living because they believe that the team in Sri Lanka are better. Yes. No, not they are separatists, but they are not inclusive of the Tamil people they're not inclusive of the Tamil people in the cricket team or the football team. They need to make it more inclusive so that Tamil people can play also in the Sri Lankan football team, or that Tamil players can play cricket in the. Yes, there are some, but it is not inclusive. It is majority Sinhalese. Yeah. So there needs to be a lot of work done in Sri Lanka. And if you imagine, and I always say this to people.
Doctor, I've just lost you temporarily, but I want to bring in Omar Triple T on the bottom of the screen. Welcome, Omar. I don't know how much you caught of the doctor's conversation there, but he's quite an expert on racism, and look, it's all over the world. It's in Sri Lanka, it's in the UK, and it takes different form.
As Malcolm X once said, you can never force a white man to put his arms lovingly over the shoulder of a black man. And similarly, on your comments, I was just reading Warrior Poet 88. He or she stated, ask Muslim from Saudi to marry his daughter to Muslim from Somalia. And I thought that was very interesting. But the answer to that would be, why would I do that?
Well,
that's like nothing to do with anyone apart from that person.
No, if they're opposed to that, doesn't that expose them as racist as the next European racist?
No, it doesn't. They just wanna keep it like they have this thing. Like I'll give you my own personal. I'll give you an example. With respect, I don't know if I'm gonna be arrested for saying this, but I myself, when I see a black man with a white woman, I feel slightly uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Yeah, I'm not saying that they shouldn't continue like this. They shouldn't be together. But I'm saying I myself feel uncomfortable. Do I want them to have a divorce and break up? No, I'm not Dr. Omar Johnson. But there is something. Now, I'll tell you why I feel uncomfortable. It's not because necessarily that there's he's black and she's white. I think of just in the 60s what was going on not long ago in the US of A in particular, and the racism and so much evilness was happening. And for kind of like, I don't think that we can. So that was one master owning another person, and one human owning another human. And if my family was owned by a human as such, I don't know if I could ever, even like 60s, 8. I mean, obviously it was a bit further than that. I think Jim Crow was still, it was the same as slavery in a way. Would you agree?
Of course. I mean, it stemmed from that. Is the UK different though? We didn't have Jim Crow. We are European.
But we had P word bashing, didn't we? Equally in the 60s.
Yes, we did.
And
Warrior Poet, who's still too cowardly to let us hear his voice, or never mind to see his face, as if India or Bharat didn't have conflict before the Brits came. Interesting that he's referring to India as Bharat. That's the Hindi name for India, isn't it? And it's where we get the Arabic word for spices.
I wouldn't say, with respect, so I wouldn't say if somebody doesn't come on live doesn't mean that they're cowardly. I would say that with respect. But regarding Bharat, yes, Bharat, you're absolutely right. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got you, Triple T. I don't know where the doctor is. He must have an appointment. But I don't know if he's still listening.
No. I am listening to. I am listening.
He's here. Good.
Yes,
right, thank you, Doctor.
I am listening to this gentleman.
You've caused quite a stir tonight.
Yes,
People
I am listening.
Comments are
yes,
all over.
I am listening to this gentleman speaking, and I am trying to understand his point of view about the black and yes.
This gentleman went to school with Tommy Robinson, and he flushed his head down the toilet, and that's why Tommy Robinson turned racist.
And Doctor, can I say, Doctor,
he doesn't do that anymore.
Doctor, may I add to that? May I add to that? In addition, may I say I am unspeakably ashamed of my actions in school with Tommy Robinson. He wasn't the best kid.
Sorry, my friend. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. So I'm so glad you're here, because I have just today, about 2 hours ago, I am on social media. Somebody put a very nice post actually about why Stephen Yaxley Lennon is a fraud. Okay, and I commented on this and said, very interesting, because I live in Luton. Okay, I lived in Luton, and I talk to many people who went to school with him, right? And I said, they told me that they were in his class, they were in his school, And this is what Tomir, okay, I am going to say just for the purpose of not getting in trouble, because I know he likes to sue people left, right, and center.
Yes.
I am
okay.
going to say,
Allegedly.
yes,
Allegedly.
let's call this person Stephen Waxley Bobinson. Okay, no, Stephen Waxley Nobinson. Okay, now
Okay.
Stephen Waxley Nobinson. Let me tell you about the stories I have heard. I have heard that first of all, he was friends with many Muslim, Asian, different Asian people groups in Luton. Sorry, in his school. Then what happened was many things happened. He fell out of favor with the Muslim, the Asian people, because he is gossiping about some things going on there to the other people. So I heard that this story that the Stephen Jaxley's head is down the toilet, right?
Yeah,
Many
well,
is yes.
With respect, that's all alleged. That's
Is it?
not
Allegedly, yeah.
necessarily
Okay.
factual. But even if it was, I mean,
Yes.
we can't victim blame, can we? We
No.
can't turn this around.
I come to that. I come to this in a minute. And actually, I also hear that when this happened, he then decided to what is the word? He went over to the other people, first the black people and then the white people, and all of them, these people told me they didn't want to know him because he is causing problems between all of the groups. He is gossip mongering. Yeah. So I listened to all of this and I thought, okay, I don't know this guy. I will forge my own opinions. But when many people say this, I started believing many years later, he must be a lonely person, loner. He must be loner. He must have not many friends. And
we all felt lonely throughout our lives, though, didn't we?
Yes, of course. But I think, they sometimes say that people like this, they then, they want to, when they become more grown up, they leave the school, they want to form a new identity, they want to change. I believe this has happened with the Yaxley Leonard. I think he wants to change and become new identity. He wants to be a part of a group. And so he decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And actually, we know where his arguments lie now, and his favoritism is Israel. That's it. Okay.
Well, yeah,
now,
and you, my doctor, I don't know if you. I mean, there's something that I admire about Tommy Robinson. He started a movement single-handedly, a working class kid with not much going for him,
yes,
and now he's infamous, but he's known all over the world, and he's able to call for 100,000 people or up to 200. I think the Polish Prime Minister said that there was 3 million people on the streets. That's an incredible feat. We had Minister Louis Farrakhan, who brought 2 million people to Washington, D.C., but he had everything behind him. For one guy to just stand up and call for all those people, that's an incredible task that he's achieved. Do you agree?
I totally agree with this, and fair play to this guy. He has used I believe he has used the social media to the best ability for himself to make this work for him with the investment he has had from these people. But you know something, I have asked this guy many times. I have tried to get in touch with him and directly and ask him. I want to speak to him face to face, because I believe that there is many things about him that he portrays an image that is not true. Because I know he has Muslim friends. I know he has Hindu friends. I know he has friends from all of these people he has issue with or he makes statement. My big problem is that he talks many times about bringing everyone together. He talks about he loves the Hindu people, the Sikh people. He talks about all of this, but his one thing that lets him down, he always goes on about the Islam and Muslim and Islamophobia. So I have a big problem with this, and I think if he starts to understand Islam, the people, their religion, and he gets to know them much better, then he may change his mind. But I think he's just at the moment very closed opinion, and I think this is how he get paid. This is his success story.
People are the same wherever you go, of every religion. I don't think it's necessarily about understanding the Muslims. I have an issue with him stating, insinuating that every Muslim or Pakistani is a grooming ganga. When you look at the records, it's the complete opposite. We've got 84% of grooming rumors that are based of this nature are white
Yes.
completely in this country.
Yes.
We've got 87,000 kids that are abused. NSPCC state this, and those
Yes.
criminals who do this are white. So there's never anything about white. White is always right. Might is white, and
Yes.
that's my issue with Tommy Robinson. But what I will say to you, if I may, with then try to get your advice. A situation happened last week where I was actually called the R word, and I stopped at a T junction by a cul-de-sac, and a man came to me on his bike, and I probably had stopped there for just 2 seconds, and I put down my window, and he said, "Why are you parked here?" And I said, "Well, yeah," and I said, "Well, I've been here for 2 seconds. I'm just turning
What's the
around."
second letter?
R word.
A
R-A, rat.
Rabbit.
C.
Okay. Keep going. It's
IST.
crossword. Right,
Oh,
you were
oh.
okay. You
Oh,
were
yes.
accused of being
Racist.
how am I
Yes,
racist?
that's right.
What? Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
why?
absolutely. Now, the interesting thing is, he just wanted. I think he just wanted an argument, and
Right.
I said, "Look, it's none of your business. If I'm parked here for 2 seconds, it's got nothing to do with you." And he then took something out of his pocket, which I was very nervous because I assumed it may be a knife or anything. This is a white Caucasian man, and he started to record me. And I said, "Look, that's fine. You can record me, and I know what you're trying. You're trying to get a reaction, but you just won't get it. And I give you permission." I said the opposite of what people normally say. I said, "I give you permission to use the recording as you wish."
Well, you love to be on
And
camera.
we just absolutely, and we just started. There was just this mini argument going on right there, and I said to him, "Look, you can't just turn up to people and ask them because you're gonna get hurt." And his response was, "You are a small man. You can't hurt me." And I said, "Yes, I am a small man, but when you see a 6-foot giant bald black man sitting in his car, then how about you do the same then?" And he said, "You're right." Then he called me a racist. How dare you say that? So it was very. What say you in a situation like this? Was I? Is it okay to say that towards a black person or not?
Sorry. You said to him that something about him being 6 foot black. Yeah.
I know. I said to him, "You wouldn't say this if I was a 7." And he kind of
Yes.
like said, "I go up to everyone. I don't care who they are, whatever, all
Yes.
this." And I said,
Yes.
yes, fine. I'm a weak guy.
Yes.
I'm a small guy. I'm a weak guy, but you wouldn't go over to a black man and say, if he was in his car, 6-foot giant
This
black
is
man
very
with big
He's a white
muscles.
guy.
And
I don't believe this. This is too much of your what you're saying is the same as what I say on the social media. I'm now starting to think you are I and I am you, because we are quoting all the same things. For
From
example,
Luton. Can't believe
yes.
it.
I am quoting this whole 85%, yeah. And you know what makes me stink of this social media? These people, they don't understand. They always come back to me and say to me, but of course there is more white people who are doing these things because there is more white people living in this country. And I say, no, my friends. There is one basic mathematical thing that is the answer to everything. It is called percentages, okay? Percentage is that form of, the best form of any form of argument, okay? Talk about percentage, not the total. So you are absolutely right, my friend. When you quote about the 84, 85%, I quote it all the time. And these people still don't understand. Now, you have now brought in another factor. This factor is something I commented on a comment 3 weeks ago. And I said, when I called these racist people out, and I said, please come and talk to me directly. Tell me directly to my face that you're racist. I said to them one thing. I said, when you come to me, you will probably see me as a small brown man. And if you see me as a small brown man, you will probably think, okay, he isn't going to do nothing. I will call him some racist words because he is weak, he is small. Okay, but he doesn't know me. You know what I have done in the past, my martial arts, my boxing. So actually, I have very strong faith that I don't care when someone comes to me. I don't care if they're 6 foot, 7 foot. I have no problem with this, right? But I think
if they're black or white.
Yeah, I don't care if they're black or white. But the problem is that they see it's perception. They see somebody small. They see like it's an Asian man. They think he's weak, so they can go to him and approach him in that kind of manner. But with me, for some reason, no one has come to me directly. And going back to this gentleman, what he said about this guy, I think sometimes it is more about how you come across. So rather than what you said, the words, and maybe it is how you came across that he was more objected to and started calling you a racist. But to be fair, I don't see anything you say racist, if that is what you said. Yeah, I think he took it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. Just, I don't know, maybe he was expecting me to have a breakdown when he put his camera on me, which is fine also. But can I just respond to the Warrior Poet 88, if I may, stating proportion very interestingly. We can look at the proportion. The proportion, and I've given these statements on this show, and I've sent them to the producers here, that we've got 88. So they said the Rochdale people that did this evil thing to the kids, which is obviously equally, we're against this as much as anybody else, even more so. That was the number 88. 88 Pakistani origin or people from Pakistan, I should say, did this evil thing. 88. And then you've got 56. It's 88 a year. That's amounting to 1,400 ultimately, but 88 a year. Now, when we look at the police commission report, on the other side of Rochdale, also 56. Now, when we look at the police commission report, or you could check this on Google right now, how many people of white origin do this? Now 88, for some reason in this country, the number 88 and the number 56 a year is somehow higher than the number 887,000. Including the NSPCC, what happens to young children. So that's touching 1 million. The number 1 million almost, nobody gives a damn about. But the entire world is focused on the 88 evil people who do that, and the 56 people who do that a year. And it's mine. I just I cannot comprehend.
I am with you. I am with you, my friend, on this. I am saying this is exactly what the Reform Party and many of these other parties, the racist parties, are banking themselves on. They are talking purely about this because this is what is stalking the population at the moment. But if they really think about it, why are they talking about something that is such proportionately in this country? This is nothing to talk about. I was teaching in a school once, and I told the children there, I said to them, guys, can I tell you, this was in 2003, okay, in Luton. I teach in a school in Luton. And I told these boys there and children, this is a class of white children. And I said to them, guys, why are you all talking about this immigrants and all? Because at that time, they weren't talking about the boat people. They were talking about immigrants and illegal people. And I said, why are you talking about this? But they say, oh, because they read it on the newspaper, on the Sun. It is on the Sun. I asked them this, right? They said on the Sun. And I said, so you read the Sun and you believe everything they say. And actually, can I tell you something, my friends? This, what you're talking about, you guys, it only constitutes to nearly 3% of the population. And the Sun newspaper is talking and making something very big story about something that doesn't matter. What about the elderly people? What about the state of the health in this country? What about this? What about that? I said, do you believe that we should be, forming all of these policies, or for your reason to vote these parties is to be based on one thing, immigration? So actually, what you're saying to me is very interesting now. You just say, because it's the same story. 20 years later, we are still doing the same thing. We are still we are weak. We are playing on people's notions, these patriots and people who believe that actually the biggest problem in this society is the brown-skinned person. It is not. Let's talk about what is the realism here. It is not immigration. Let's talk about the economy. How are we going to improve the economy? Is it immigration that is going to improve the economy? No. Is it we talking about the asylum seekers that is going to improve the economy? No. This is not going to improve the economy. Improving the economy is coming up with good fiscal measures and ensuring that we are all looked after so that we can all provide and we can provide our families. But unfortunately, these parties, they're playing on the heartstrings of what we are calling now racist people. Because they don't.
Doctor, if I may say that, firstly, I'm shocked that even if your kids in your school are reading the Sun newspaper, I'm still very impressed that they're actually reading and getting away from their phones. That's that's very
Well,
interesting. I myself, I went as when I was passing through school, I should say. I didn't do too great initially. I remember a teacher speaking to myself, addressing me and an African boy, and we were both black. And I've kept that identity as black throughout my life. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, that growing up Asians, we were also black.
Mm.
And we're proud to be black. And I've kept that identity. Do you see us as black or not?
No. No. Actually, this is very interesting too, because when I was in university, we had a discussion about this, and when I was training to be teacher, and I remember we were talking about something, and somebody said and the black people do this, and the white people do this, and I said, I'm very, very sorry, guys, but I don't see myself representing you as black people. I represent myself as brown person. Yes, and actually, I pointed this to my skin, and I said, do you see black there? And to everyone, is this definition of black? And they say no. I said, so what do you see? What is the color of my skin? They say brown. So why are you calling me black? Okay, so no. So I agree with you. There is some. I agree that you disagree. I agree that you have your own views, but I have no problem with this. It is not a
So
major issue
today,
for me.
you are brown and we are black.
Yes, you are black. I am brown.
And I'm proud to be that. And my last question to you is simply this, that we've got this situation going on with all these parties, and there seems to be this negativity towards Islam.
Yes.
Why is there this kind of like this thing about Islam? From what I know, I read the biography of Prophet Muhammad, and I think he was the greatest man that ever lived. If I can see it and I'm an idiot with basic rudimentary education, why can't intelligent, decent, respectable people with such high decorum and values, why can't they see it?
Okay, it is very much not. I bring this up because let's put, and I have, this is what I questioned that Stephen Waxley Robinson about. Okay, this guy, if you put him in front of 5 different brown skinned people, okay, and you take off all of their clothes, everything, okay, we don't want to imagine this, okay, but imagine there are 5 standing people, all brown, okay, and if you ask this Stephen, what's his name, whatever his name is, and you ask him, okay, who is this out of these 5 brown people you have problem with, right? He will think it is a very interesting question. Will he say all of them, or will he say just 3 of them? And you ask him why he has problem with even one of these people, okay? And he will say, okay, tell me the context of these 5 brown people. Okay, one is Muslim, one is Hindu, one is Sikh, one is whoever. Okay, now which one do you have the problem with? Well, I don't know. Which one is the Muslim person? Yes. Okay, the Muslim person is that one. Okay, I have problem with him then. Yeah. So why? Why you have problem with him? Okay, very interesting, because the problem is this, and it is very visible. And as far as they're concerned, what it is that they see you guys are very traditional in your approach to society. Even here living in England, you know, you are wearing in your normal customary clothes a lot of the time, the women, the men, and that is what distinguishes you more. Now, I know the Sikh person will wear his turban, yes, as well, and that will distinguish. But I said this once, there is a comment, I don't know if you saw this on social media, about the Sikh guys who are walking in this, and so many Sikh guys are, you know, coming out and saying, we are proud to be this, we are proud to be part of Britain, we are proud to be this. And actually many people go back to them, including myself, and say, okay, that's great, but you take your turban off, then you will be just the same as us, and you will be called the P word just the same as all of us. Okay, so actually this is to do with more about naivety. They have no idea about who we are unless we put our clothes on. Okay, and that is the only way they can distinguish between Muslim, Sikh, and actually Hindu is very difficult, because we just wear our shirt and tie and we go to work. Okay, but you guys, you are very much about your customary clothes, and you're very identifiable.
No, but even, I mean, we're all going to be identifiable in some way. You're right about the clothing does distinct. Like if you had Sadiq Khan or
yes,
what's his name, Andrew Tate, or
Yes.
Amir Khan or Mohammed Hijab or even that Greek guy, whatever his name is, the Muslim guy.
Yes.
No one knows, or even Prince Nazim. No
Yes.
one really knows who's what and where's one of them or each of them from. We wouldn't know. We are brown and or black, and we're proud to be that. But
Yes.
with this seems to be just this unnecessary
Yes.
dislike for some reason. And and if there is something genuine that people can't stand about Islam, I want to know, because I don't want to be a part of a group that represents whatever it is that they believe that Muslims do represent. We have,
Of course.
and Muslims are good. You're gonna get every race. There's no race. I lived in Naxos in Greece, and even there, tiny minority. I mean, must have been about 200 or 300 people, I think. And even there, they ended up being some evil people amongst that. And I thought, there's no way on this earth where you're safe. Even between 300 people, we got some evil people that did evil things to kids and so on.
Yeah.
And they were all Greek, and I just thought, there's no way, we can't find a place where it's 100% safe in that sense. And my question, yes,
Go on.
sir.
Yes.
So my question going back.
I was
Yes,
just
please.
going to say to you, you just reminded me something actually, that I think the other thing is that if you're looking at the recent things that have stemmed this problem and the stalking of all the racism and everything, is because you were mentioning earlier about the Yorkshire things that were going on there. And if you imagine it, a lot of it is stemming from this grooming of the children, all this kind of thing. And what these people do is they relate that to your religion, because they only know one part of that religion. They believe in your religion that people can marry that kind of age and what have you. And this is very simplistic point of view that has just been spread amongst very simple people who have no time to read or understand what is the Quran about, what is the Bible about. They're not, somebody like the presenter of this show, I know he has a good understanding of many religions, but many people, they're not educated, and they take the very simplistic form, and that's it. And it is taught on very simple prejudices because they don't understand. And so, unfortunately, it is your religion that they can associate this with. That's it.
Okay, if they can't sit down and we can't discuss it, how do we go forward? But can I just quickly mention Bobby Ver, who said Savile Town in Yorkshire is 99% Asian, no longer 80%, as you say. It's not there's no town in England that is 99%. Bobby, you're mistaken. You're normally very good with even Bradford.
Yes.
Even Bradford is probably 50% or 51%, and
Yes.
that's the highest, because they said that London, they start calling it London Stan, but there's only 3% of London is Pakistani. So it's there's no need to call it London Stan, really. So just to clarify, I'm not sure what Bobby's going to respond.
Now, let me
to
tell
that.
you something there, Bobby. I don't know what mate, I'm telling you now, mate, you've got this all wrong, right? I have been brought up in the north, right? I know this area very well, Savile. And you know what, mate? You are flipping, I ain't going to say the word, I'm not going to be rude. You are absolutely, you're joking blimey, mate. Mate, you are all over the place. Why are you saying that there's 99%? That is just absolute nonsense. Take it from me, as a white bloke like you, you're talking rubbish, mate. Absolute. Now, let's go back to Dr. Bubbling Back Gascoigne.
Multiple personalities on air. I don't know what's going on here. And the comments are going wild. Bobby, the maths is not mathing. Look, even if there was a town that was 99%, whatever race.
It is stupidity. Stupidity. My goodness, what kind of conversation is that? I don't understand that point of view. Yes.
Also, Doctor, you said earlier that what distinguishes people is their clothing and so on. And all these other, the turban and everything, and the Sikh may be assimilating. I myself, as somebody who was born in Peterborough, I don't feel that I need to assimilate with someone to be British. I don't feel like I have to, just go down the pub, and although I do now and again, but I don't feel like I have to go there and I have to sit with them and I have to, watch EastEnders, which I do occasionally. But all that assimilation, that's just propped up, and then people say, "Oh, you don't assimilate." You're damn right, I don't assimilate. I don't give a damn about assimilation.
Yes.
So people who they are credulous to
Yes.
assimilate. Oh, look at me, I'm gonna go. And there's a Sikh guy that goes on all these marches. You may have seen him on Tommy
Yes.
Robinson
Yes. I saw
marches,
him.
and he goes
Yes.
there and he gets
Yes.
hugs, and his wife had a broken leg and everything.
Yes.
And somebody, so and he wears a British kind of like turban, which is great as well.
Yeah.
And he's from India. He has a very thick Indian accent. And I saw a clip where he gets accosted by a lady, and she says, "Well, you wrote Gora. I'm going to go to England and make the Gora shine my shoe, lick my shoe, and all this," which is probably something in the Indian slang. And they caught him. He must have stayed that 10 years ago
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
knowing what his future is. And he came over to England, and now they caught him, and it was just embarrassing to see him ridiculed like that. So personally, I don't care about assimilation. I don't
Yes.
care if I speak to a white person or a Japanese person. I don't care. So am I wrong? In the chats, tell me, am I wrong? And doctor, tell me, am I wrong by living my life like this, like
Okay.
in solitude or not?
Very, very interesting. Again, a very good question. I think, okay, that the most important thing is whether you contribute to this country. It does not matter whether you assimilate, integrate in any sort. Look, I don't go to pub either. I'm a tea drinker. Okay, I drink tea, but yes, I go to pub and drink tea. I watch football in pub if I want to. Okay, it doesn't mean I have to go there and drink alcohol because I
Still
drink.
on
I don't
tea.
drink. Yes, I drink a lot of tea. Okay, now the problem is this, and this is my big issue. And actually, you brought up another issue, and just from that topic, and that is we are talking about, how the reform and people like this are talking always about asylum seekers, refugees, immigrants. And if you look at the percentage in this country of these people compared and what they're talking about these people are bringing problems into this country. Actually, let's talk about the people in this country, born and bred in this country, who are scrounging the system, who are not even contributing, paying tax. Okay, there is more benefit fraud in this country than anything going on with asylum seekers or anything like this. And actually, why are we not talking about these people? Why are not we dealing with this issue? And so I can see by looking at you, maybe I'm what is the word? I am being very not stereotypical, but I'm making a judgment that you are somebody who has contributed to this country. You have worked in this country and contributed. I don't know about the presenter of this show. He looks like a mug, but I think, that we have contributed to this show, to this country. And therefore, there is no reason for us to really talk about assimilation, integration. It doesn't matter whether we assimilate or integrate. And this is the big problem I always find with these people like Yaxley, whatever his name is. What has he done? How has he contributed to this country? He goes around making money from social media and people paying him to, stoke up this hatred. Is this a job? Has he paid tax? Well, we don't know, okay? But me, I have paid tax for 35 years. I've contributed to this country. I don't care if I go out and behave like a Sri Lankan person, Indian person, Jamaican, Israeli, whatever. I have contributed to this country. I'm happy. And I think you are also that. I think you have contributed. You're happy. You don't feel like that. You need to assimilate.
Doctor, wise words from the doctor. I'll just add that during the pandemic, our government shut the whole country down and no one was contributing because they were not allowed to. And the government was regurgitating money with furlough and lining their own pockets with the deals that they did and the purchases that were made, the biggest exchange of wealth. That's when contributions were not happening, when the government prevented us from doing so.
I agree. And what I get really mad about, not mad but angry about, is now when I see so many people on the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. These are people, they don't have any job. Okay, they claim their money, their benefits, and they go and use their money to buy camera, podcasts like this thing. Okay, and they go around interviewing people. And do you know, since this whole Southport thing, okay, since the whole Southport thing came into life, the number of people who have just become what they're calling or trying to be social influencers, and for the wrong reasons, Okay, and when I see these people trying so hard to become like their influence is actually Stephen Waxley Robinson. When I see this, I just look at these people and say, come on, guys, go get yourself some proper job, pay the tax, contribute to the system, retire when you're 30, 65, after you work 35 years, have a happy life. Why are you causing all these problems? I have worked 40 years in this country. I've paid tax 40 years in this country. Okay, I am still working because I love this country. I love contributing to this country. But you know what? You make me sick because you don't do one bit of work, but all you do is go around with your microphone and asking people about the what is it? There are refugees and asylum seekers, how they mean to you. Get yourself a proper job, my friends. Yeah, and this is the problem, I think, because my friend did research and he said to me that 35% of this country is currently on a certain level of income that has made them, or not even, sorry, income. That is not their problem. I'm talking about the people who are claiming the benefits fraud. It is at a huge, it is going to nearly be 33% of the GDP of this country is attributable to benefit fraud. This is huge compared to what we talk about, asylum seekers and refugees. So why are we not dealing with this as a problem? It is a blindside vision, I think. So anyway, going back to what your friend has said, I believe when I look at your friend right now, in my eyes, I believe he is black and he's British. Okay, so this is what is his name? Yes, yes. I believe that you're black. I believe you're British. There is no need for you to assimilate or in whatever. You are contributing to this system in your own ways. There is no problem. My issue is with people like this guy who is coming on this and putting comment like about the 99%. To me, this is uneducated, and some of these people need to be educated. That is it. Big problem in this country. Education.
Education, education, education. I'll leave you with a quote from Tony Blair, unfortunately. Gentlemen, it's been splendid. I really appreciate everyone in the chat. Don't be racist, folks. I think we can all agree on that, whatever shade of red your skin is. This has been Lessons for Life. We'll do it all again soon. I've done many in a row, trying to see how many I can bang out while we are in this new year of 2026. We'll do it all again soon, God willing. We were here. We are gone. Late.
Bye-bye, folks.